Hello guys, welcome back. I'm sorry for the 4 people that saw that video last night. Don't make YouTube videos when you're in the middle of a spiritual transformation. Do not. I had a really bad experience with Odin because I was in the middle of a spiritual transformation, which I didn't know, and I've been going through it for like the last couple of years actually, and been struggling. And I just like hit the end of it last night. And in fact, this morning I sat down and all the final pieces clicked into place. And I'm like, oh shit, there goes the channel for one. I'm still spiritual. I'm still spiritual before you get worried. I was like, oh no. Oh no, this is what was happening, and this is why the relationships were so turbulent with the gods. Oh no, what shall I do now? Well, there go all the labels. And I was crying to Loki last night. I was like, we can't have any more labels. Blah, blah. You need labels on a YouTube channel. You need to figure out something to put on your channel. So for the end of time, as long as I have a YouTube channel, I'm going to have something in my labels or you'll never find me. And I was like, no, last night, and I was fighting this, and you know, that's what spiritual awakening is like. It's like the meme. People think it's like sitting there and like it's all angels and light and everything. And it's a tower card, and everything you thought you knew is just destroyed. And for a year or so, I've been like just trying to keep my head above water, and you know, I didn't want to admit to certain stuff. And I'm going to share some spiritual insight I got, and I'm probably going to lose all of you subscribers, but I might as well share it anyhow. I'm never, ever, ever going to be able to walk away, whether you think it was drilled into me, whether you see me as a victim or not. I'm never going to walk away from wanting a relationship with Jesus. I did not say wanting a relationship with a church or the Bible. I said Jesus. I did not say any flavor of Jesus. I said Jesus, just so we're clear. You can call it New Age Jesus with crystals. You're really not going to hurt my feelings. The Jesus that I work with doesn't care about the church, doesn't care about the Bible, doesn't care about labels, doesn't need me to do anything other than if I think I'm being called to go and to study and to reflect and gentle down and be a kind, decent person. That's the only thing I'm getting consistently. And the message I'm getting is, why are you looking for me for the church? I'm right here. Why are you looking for me through progressives? I'm right here. Why are you looking for me through Christians and then crying bitter tears because, you know, I was judging, and this was why Odin was yelling and Loki was yelling. They're like, stop looking for Jesus through people. You want a God? Go directly to the God. You know, you want Loki? Go directly to the Loki. For the love of Loki, don't stop at me and go, hey, she's talking about Jesus, therefore Loki can't be calling me. Well, if you think Loki's calling you, he's calling you. You think a God's calling you, they're calling you. Go over and answer. Go over and answer. It might just be to go, hi. I get that like 90% of the time. What do you want? Hi. Well, hello, but what did you want? Hi. Hi. Sometimes they just want our attention. It's like, I think they think we're cute little puppies or kittens. And they just call to us and we go over and we're like, what important mission do you have for me, oh Lord? And they're like, hi. Hi, and that's just because of our culture. Our culture tells us that if a God calls you, they're calling you on a grand quest because let's blame the Greeks, let's blame Christians, let's blame, you know, the heathens. Let's blame everyone. We have this idea that every time a God calls you, it's on a grand quest. Sometimes it's just to have fun and pal around. The best times I had with Jesus, there goes the channel, is when I let go of trying to understand the Old Testament, because that is scary. Have you read it? I let go of trying to understand the Old Testament. I let go of trying to understand the church. I let go of trying to understand God and the Holy Trinity and sin, because I will never understand sin to the end of time. It just makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. It does not. And I just palled around with Jesus. And Jesus just wanted to hang out and chill. And the best time ever we had was my family used to go to see these musicals, these Christian musicals. Even though we were Catholic, we'd go see these. And there was one about Noah's Ark. There was like this story about Noah's Ark. That is the Jesus that I can get behind. Not the idea of the flip side that the atheists look at. You know, the Jesus that is just like, it's a story about cute animals. Just focus on that part. And go into a toy store and look around at toys. The Jesus that would be the youth pastor if he was in a church, which the more I work with Jesus, the less I think he'd be in a church. But Jesus would be the youth pastor with the water gun and having fun and hanging out and having pizza. Jesus wouldn't really be all that worried about the Bible, especially if every time you pick it up it makes you feel sick to your stomach. Don't. Jesus would be coming and swatting it out of your hand and going, that's valuable because I was written by humans. Don't do that. You know right from wrong. There are a lot of people that consider themselves Christians that don't think they need a church. They truly do not. They're like, the church can bite me. I got Jesus. I'm good. And, there are people, though, that have the opposite reaction, and I respect that. I truly do, that they pick up the Bible and they love it. There are verses here and there I can get behind. I'm like, there are verses here and there I can get behind, but the whole entire thing? No, because I've read huge portions of that thing, and I am traumatized. I can't get behind the whole thing. But, that seems to just be the difference between me and people that like it. They get a message of love. I get a message of God ain't quite right in the head. And that will never change for me, no matter how many times I pick up the Bible. I'm like, God ain't quite right in the head. Well, of course he's not, because they literally had one sentence here and they have one sentence there. And as I was going to try to explain to you in the video you should have gotten, here's my best explanation for the Bible, adapted from what a priest told me. The Bible is written like this. Jesus and I get together. Jesus, I, and Loki are getting together, and we're at a table and we're giggling and we're writing a new Bible. Okay, new Bible time, guys. And Jesus is playing with kittens and having a water gun fight with Loki, and we're giggling and we're having fun. We're having pizza and we're having parties and everything. The Testament, the new Bible, is going to be about fun and happiness, and just don't be a jerk, dude. And Odin gets together with the very worst version of Yahweh, which I personally don't think exists, but he gets together with this very worst version of Yahweh, and it's the very worst version of Odin, and they write a New Testament, and it's about suffering and eternal damnation, and you are scum if you don't bow down and tremble in fear. And, they're writing their version. And we all get up for lunch, and somebody comes in, and they find the two distinctly different things and they try to put them together. That is how you got the Bible. You had people over here writing, God is suffering and damnation and hellfire, and you had other Christian groups, because there were tons of them in the beginning, going, no man, God's like chill. They didn't know what hippies were, but like, God is a chill hippie and he wants you to just be happy and don't be a jerk. That's like God's entire message. Don't be a jerk. And obviously the suffering people won. The suffering people won. Now, once you get to your point where you're like, okay, I can have a relationship with this God, but not within the spirituality. I've had people ask me, can they come up and talk to Loki? But they're like, they're not a pagan. They don't consider themselves a pagan. I'm like, yeah, why not? Pagans don't own Loki. Lokeans don't own Loki. I do not own Loki. He doesn't answer to me. I cannot make him do what you want him to do. I used to have people say, well, Loki won't talk to me. And I'm like, and I can't force him. He's willful. He will not do what he don't want to do. And I, some of us would go to church and we wouldn't find God there, but we would go outside of church and we'd find God, and we go, oh, that can't be God. Yeah, it was God. It's just, he ain't in the church for us. Everybody has a different experience. Everyone's knowledge will vary. Some people might be very happily Christian, and yet Loki keeps coming and like, can I sit in church with you? Can I go to church? If that's your legitimate experience, fine. It's been a year of spiritual trauma and growth for me the last couple of years, because, jealousy in the human heart can make us say a lot of horrible things or think a lot of horrible things. And I saw stuff like people claiming that they saw Odin go to church, and I'm like, what? Because I'm over here trying to fit into the heathen paradigm. And the heathen paradigm, a lot of people are straight up hostile or hateful towards Christians, which is wrong, by the way. To me personally, that's wrong. I don't want to walk a path of hate. Personally, I don't want to walk a path of hate. And I'm like, you know what? The more I've worked with him, Odin will be exactly what you want. If you want Nightmare, hold you in place, force you to be a heathen, that's what you'll get. If you want the Odin that would go to a weekend vegan retreat with you, that's what you'll get. If you want Odin that would go to church with you and get the Eucharist, that's what you will get. And I'm like, he would be the first god. The more I think of it, Odin would be the first god to go into a church and sneak into a church. And Odin would be the first god to collaborate with every other god because he's nosy and he wants wisdom. He's not an omnipotent deity sitting up there knowing everything, or he wouldn't have Hugin and Munin, and he wouldn't travel the world. He wouldn't keep, poking in where he doesn't belong in Christianity and in Buddhism and spiritual retreats and everything else. Now, I think the main problem the main problem we all have is that if we feel that if a god is talking to us, they're calling us to a great quest, a great holy mission, and the god's like, wait, what? No, I just came over here to talk to you. What's wrong with you humans? For thousands of years, we have been taught the paradigm that if the gods pick you up for attention, you're either a hero in the Greek sense and you must go forth, or you are being called to be a Christian and nothing but, or, now the thing is you're being called to be with Odin or nothing but, or you're being called to be with Loki or nothing but. And yet all these other gods still keep coming into your life and talking to you. So it's very hard to step outside of the idea of you are the chosen one. You have to step outside the idea of you are the chosen one. Oh, my child, you must be with me and me only. We have to step outside that paradigm sooner or later and admit we don't know anything. We really don't. We have tons of books that will tell us. We have tons of people that will tell us, oh yes, we know exactly about God and Jesus and it's in this book. Or we know exactly about Jesus, God and Jesus, and it's in our church. There's people across the street in their church, they're going to hell. Sorry, but that's the way it is. And, we have to step out. I think what the gods are shouting at us at this point is, look, we will pick you up and shake you pretty hard at this point in your spiritual growth, but we're not doing it because we hate you or we want you to stay in one place. We're doing it so you wake up, like, wake up, wake up. And that's what Odin was trying to do. He was trying to wake me up. That's what Loki was trying to do. He was trying to wake me up. And they're like, stop looking for Jesus through the church. Stop looking for Jesus through the Bible, because it's not going to work for you. It just doesn't. Might work for other people. That's not everyone's stop, but that's you stop. Stop looking through Jesus through Christians, because you're never going to find one that's going to make you happy. And that's what Loki's thing was. You're shooting the messenger and then crying that we're not sending you messengers, but you're the one deliberately going out and looking for these messengers. So in a way, the gods aren't really sending them either. So, that's another thing I have to get out of my lexicon, and it's going to be hard because I'm deliberately going out and looking for these people. And you're not going to get that to the gods, at least for me. I never get to the gods that way. I've never found Jesus through a relationship with a Christian. I certainly didn't find him through my Catholic parents. I didn't find him through the church. I didn't find him through any of the Christians I knew. I found him just by having a personal relationship, and not one based on sin, not one based on me needing to be saved through anything, because I don't think I need to be saved, and yet we still have this relationship. I can't explain it either. I did not meet Loki through just being a Lokean. Loki came to me when I firmly considered myself Wiccan, but then the more I started to think of Wicca, I'm like, in a lot of ways it's just as restrictive as Christianity, because you can do all of this except for talk to Jesus or God. If you ever do that, we're kicking you out. Like, the witch police will come and find you, and they will tear up your little witch card, and you're no longer a witch. And, the same thing for working with the Norse gods. For some reason, because heathenry came around, for better or for worse, for some people it truly works and it's a beautiful tradition, and I'm not knocking that, but then, you get the idea that if you're not just with the Norse gods, Odin himself is going to come tear up your Norse god card, and you're not going to get to play with the Norse gods. It's to me, 2021 is going to be my year. It doesn't have to be your year, but my year of trying to step outside all those paradigms and finding the gods I truly want to work with, and finding the gods that I truly, truly resonate with. Because the other night, Loki asked me, well, how do you feel about the Roman gods now? Because I had that bad experience in VR. And I said, I still love them. I said that they don't love me in return is unfortunate. And I felt like a door open. That was interesting. And I said, I don't hate them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I said, maybe they got hostile because I was thinking, why can't this be about Greece? And I said, I would probably get hostile too, looking back on that. But I said, I think because I have this filter, the Greek gods are usually portrayed, at least as I was growing up, as the good ones, where the Roman gods were portrayed as brutal and monstrous. I said, if I could put down that lens and just let the Roman gods come for themselves, I might have a completely different, experience. But it's to me, 2021 is going to be my year to put down all those filters, to stop looking for earthly teachers and to just go on my journey. I didn't say we can't look for each other and learn for each other, but if something starts to feel wrong for you about, like, say you find a Christian channel and just something feels wrong, get away from that. Keep your journey with the Lord, but get away from that channel. If you think they're doing it for the wrong reasons, you don't have to sit there in suffering and try to wrap your head around what they're doing. Just get away from it for now. If later on you change and grow and you can accept them as walking their path, righteously, fine, do that. But, and then look at your language too. Should we even have righteous as a thing we talk about if we ever talk about Jesus? Because who do you see Jesus as? Do you see him as the bipolar dude in the Bible that one day is talking about peace and the next day is kind of crazy? Or do you see him as this enlightened teacher that didn't say most of what's in the Bible? Or do you see him as a god or a demigod? And, what's your relationship and what message are you getting? And then that's what you can judge, and basically that's what they teach. If you go to God and God's like, why are you coming to church? You're so sad. If you go to Jesus and Jesus is like, why are you picking up the Bible? You're so sad. And if you go to them and they keep being like, why are you trying to be Catholic or Christian or whatever? You're so sad. Then that's something you have to deal with. I really feel for the people in, Christian paganism that they're trying to put two totally divergent, very hostile things together because they feel called to both paths. They still feel called to Jesus, but they feel called to the pagan gods. I'm like, we need to invent a new word, whether we just start using spiritual loosely or something. We need to invent a new word because I think that 2021 is why we're having so much upheaval, because we're seeing that you can't put two paths that are hostile together, together. You have to find the peaceful version of each path or invent a totally new path. You would have to have a brand of Christianity that's like, fine, go be a pagan too. And you would have to have a brand of paganism that would be like, we really don't care if you work with Jesus. You're usually not going to find those two things together. You're going to have to invent your own path, and you're going to have to be like, well, I'm always going to work with Jesus, but I'm working with these pagan gods. I officially don't have a label. And, because if you say Christo Wicca or Christo Pagan, people are like, well, we already have like 80 roles, and here's the things you can't do. That's not useful to me. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. There go all my subscribers, because I mentioned Jesus like 80 times. Well, I'm like, I just can't stop. I just have to go over here and have one more conversation, and hang out and go, aren't these naked pasture things cool? And, that's my walk. Loki's saying, give him the Amazon, example. So Loki's like, this doesn't make sense, but to Loki it makes sense. So maybe you'll get something out of it. I'd cancel my Amazon subscription. Had I kept my Amazon subscription, I could have just got my allergy medication today. But I ended up getting my allergy medication, a wolf and a bath bomb, because I'm trying to make an order. But I also picked up an Amazon subscription because then the next time I need to do this, instead of being so hard-headed, I can just pay the monthly subscription and be like, well, that one or two things that I need during the month that I just want to buy, and I don't want to go spend 25 on Amazon, and I don't want to spend 35 on Walmart, I can now just go get it. So it is worth the subscription price. And had I just not wanted to stubbornly say, I want to save every penny possible, I can put that $12.99 back into an order, I would have just been able to walk in today and just pick up, cold medication. No, I ended up, adding on a wolf. I need like a hole in my head in a bath bomb. I need like a hole in my head because I was like, well, I'm trying to reach, the free shipping. So yeah, really bad example. But I think Loki's like, had you just been free and open and kept the subscription, you would have been able to just pick up one thing. But because you canceled it and you were trying to be perfect, you ended up doing more than you would have done in the first place. I don't know, bad example, but Loki's like, they'll get it, they'll get it, they'll get it. It was a faith thing too. It was a faith thing. He's like, just trust us, just have a subscription, trust us to somehow get you the money every month to have your subscription and be still able to go do other things. I think that's what he's trying to talk about. So I'm kind of tired and woozy today, but it feels like I'm coming off a couple-year battle with my own spirituality and my own path. So if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.